Austin Powers.
Oh, behave. Yeah. Yeah, baby. Yeah.
I would never say that these are great comedies, but they are a lot of fun when you're in the right mood. They may seem immature and stupid now, but these movies really were from a time when popular culture never took itself too seriously. A time of white chicks, Deuce Bigalow, Mystery Men, Zoolander, and of course, Big Mama's House. An era where one actor would play about 4 different roles under a ton of makeup, and half the jokes are about sex and farts. So in other words, a much better time for everyone. Looking back now, I think Austin Powers has held up far better than most of its contemporaries. Most of that probably has to do with just how endearing Austin is as a character. He's a very likable guy. He's charming, he's funny, he's horny.
Do I make you horny, baby? Yeah, do I?
But underneath it all, he's still a perfect gentleman who wants to save the day.
Kiss me.
I can't, darling.
Why not?
Because you're drunk. It's not right.
Doesn't hurt that he makes a killer Halloween costume either. I myself have rocked a groovy man kit I got off eBay a few years back, but the year after that I got too confident and tried to do Funky Kong as well. Austin Powers was everywhere back in the early 2000s.
Why did you stop?
I was just admiring your hiney.
Oh, behave.
And considering just about everything got its own game back then, it's no wonder they tried to make a few bucks off his name. In total, we got 2 for the Game Boy and 1 for the PlayStation, before we got robbed of a Dreamcast racing game that never came to be. To start off, we're going to be taking a look at Austin Powers' Oh Behave and Welcome to My Underground Lair. Both released on September 18th, 2000 for the Game Boy Color and published by Rockstar Games. These two are pretty much the Pokemon Gold and Silver of Mike Myers, so let's start with Oh Behave. First, we'll boot this baby up and log into everyone's favorite operating system, Austin Powers 2000. Just fill in your secret agent details for the man himself and away we go. We can play rock, paper, scissors, do our homework on the Shagulator, get lost in the Mojo maze, write a manifesto, visit the Austin Powers homepage, and not much else. There really isn't much of an actual game here. Realistically, it's more like an Austin Powers activity center. This is kind of like if Temple OS was made by Austin Powers instead of Terry Davis.
Let's be clear, I'm literally the smartest programmer that has ever lived.
You can customize the interface a fair bit, and it is fun to see all the different backgrounds they've made. For someone out there, this is probably the first thing they ever jerked off to. Leave a comment below if that was you. Credit where credit is due, they did go to the trouble of making this whole WordPad program where you can send documents over the Game Boy link cable. There's no mucking around on this thing either. There's only one setting on the keyboard, and that's all caps, baby. Open up the web browser and we're taken to the Austin Powers homepage, where you can read the lore of the Austin Powers cinematic universe and watch this clip from the film in absolute peanut quality. I guess the real meat of the experience is meant to be in the minigames you can play on this thing. There's rock, paper, scissors, which is boring as fuck, but it is fun to see 8-bit Will Ferrell and Brownface, Mojo Maze, which is just slower Pac-Man, Domination, which really fails to live up to the kinkiness of its name, and hidden away in the options menu is Austin Powers, International Man in a Platform Game. It all kinda sucks, but I do like this sound clip player they built in. Just imagine the kind of mayhem this thing would have caused on a family car trip. Dad's trying to drive, Mum's got the map out, and then in the back seat it's yeah baby this and penis pump that. If you were a kid back then, this whole cartridge was probably worth it just for that function. I mean, it seems silly now, but stuff like this really was cool back then. The idea of having sound bites from your favorite movie ready at any time was mind-blowing. Remember hit clips? There were those little toys that could play about 60 seconds of a song in terrible quality. Sure, portable CDs and Walkmans are readily available, but neither of those are as sick as having an NSYNC song hanging off your wallet chain. So, is Austin Powers' Oh Behave any good or not? Well, no, I mean of course not, it's complete shit. But as a weird Game Boy Color curiosity, it's worth a good laugh or two with friends. If you're interested in picking this one up for the man cave, you can buy it for way too much money on Play Asia. Next up, we've got Dr. Evil's Welcome to My Underground Lair. Similar to before, we boot into our now evil operating system and punch in some personal details to start off with. Ah yes, the 3 genders. There really isn't a whole lot to say about this because it's basically just the same thing as Oh Behave, with a Dr. Evil theme instead. You play as Dr. Evil in the Mojo Maze, we get evil wallpapers rather than groovy ones, the Shagulator is now the Friculator, and the web browser is now the Unibrowser. I guess the only real draw of getting this version instead of Oh Behave is that in this one, the platform game has been replaced by this. Dr. Evil, he's Knievel. Listen, if you ever played Trials and thought, this is missing a certain someone, then boy do I have the game for you. Playing as Dr. Evil and Mini-Me, you drive this motorbike through a bunch of obstacles to try and get to the next level without crashing. I mean, I assume there are other levels. The bike just controls so badly that I can't manage to make it out of the first area. Call me a pleb, call me a casual, call me a Kotaku journalist, but I think Rockstar should start respecting me as a player and add an easy mode for busy people like me who don't have the time to invest in a game like this. That's about all there is to say about this one, so let's move on to 2002's Austin Powers Pinball for Microsoft Windows and Sony PlayStation. The way I see it, most video games are some sort of wish fulfillment, and that's especially true for Austin Powers Pinball. I would love to have one of these in my apartment, but the unfortunate reality is I don't have $7,000 to spare. But what I do have is a PlayStation 1 and a CD burner. We get a choice of playing from two tables, one for the International Man of Mystery and the other for the Spy Who Shagged Me. You might think, only two tables? Wow, I guess this must have been made before the third film came out. But the joke's on you because it was out by then and they were just too lazy to put it in there. If I were playing this in a bar or at an arcade on a real machine, it'd be a great time. But playing Austin Powers Pinball alone on my PlayStation 1 is just a very sad experience. It's just no frills, nothing special Austin Powers Pinball with very bad quality sound effects.
Groovy, baby.
I can understand if something like this came out for the Super Nintendo, but this is the PlayStation 1 we're talking about. A system famous for how well it handles CD audio. There are some infamous Amazon reviews out there which should help explain what I'm talking about. Game came in good condition, but it's a garbage game. Every time you score, Austin keeps saying "fuck me baby" instead of his famous shag. I returned this game. Austin Powers would not say fuck. The real physical machines just look way more fun than the ones they've made for the game too. Shoot the ball into Fat Bastard's toilet for extra points? The fact that they knew about that and didn't add it in just makes me sick. Shouldn't really come as a surprise to anyone that all of these games suck. But back in mid-2000, there was one very shagadelic glimmer of hope on the horizon. Austin Powers Mojo Rally. Had it come out, easily would have been the grooviest game on the Sega Dreamcast. Once again published by Rockstar, Mojo Rally was being developed by Climax Studios before it was quietly cancelled before its release in October of 2000. While a playable beta of the game was never leaked, we do have a few interviews and press releases to get a good idea of what could have been. A 4-player kart racing game that features 8 playable characters, 15 tracks, random weather effects, and high-quality sound bites from the movies. Honestly, it sounds great. From everything I've read, it seems like they were actually trying their best with this project. The executive producer even told IGN that the game would make him horny. Just imagine if this thing actually came out and it wasn't bad. As a mentally stable individual, I've never been into speedrunning, but if Austin Powers Mojo Rally actually came out, you better believe I'd be shitting in a diaper on Twitch to get those world records. Ultimately, it seems like Mojo Rally was canned because of the abundance of other competing kart races at the time. It is a shame, but given the quality of the 3 other Austin Powers video games, maybe Mojo Rally is better off as a what could have been type situation. We never did get a good Austin Powers game, but I don't think that's because it just couldn't be done. Look at the Leisure Suit Larry games and think about what those were all about. Filthy jokes, humorous situations, and a short, unattractive man trying to get laid. Something like that would have been perfect for Austin Powers. If you want to play something with a campy 60s style, I highly recommend the PC game No One Lives Forever. Developed by Monolith in 2000, No One Lives Forever is a very charming game with a good sense of humor and gameplay that still holds up. Just make sure you grab the Modernizer patch before playing. It fixes all the issues for modern hardware while still keeping the authentic experience intact. Will we ever see another Austin Powers movie? Probably not. He's just too damn horny. But if you're around my age and you could use a good laugh or two right now, rewatching any of those movies will do just the trick. That's it from me, and as always, I want to give a big thank you to my mum and the boys for making it all the way to the end of the video. Thanks again, and I'll see you when I see you.